In this video, we are going to look at how do you solve for x or any other variable when you have supplementary angles. All right, so remember, supplementary angles mean the two angles, the two small angles, when you add them together, they total 180 degrees. And if you look at them, at all of our examples here, you'll see you got two small angles right here on all of them, and together they come together and you see the straight line that they form. They're all adjacent also, so they all share a common side, but you can tell they're supplementary because their non-shared sides form a straight line. So that means all of our problems today, we're going to add the two small pieces together, and it's going to we're going to set it equal to 180. All right, let's jump into our first example here. So I have a 132 degree piece and I have an x degree piece. We don't know what that is. So I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to solve. I'm going to say x plus 132. Doesn't really matter which order I write it in. I could write it the other way as well. Equals 180. Now, if you're going, I don't remember how to solve an equation, take a look over here. Remember, we have to use opposite operations to solve. So it means addition and subtraction, multiplication and division. Those are our two pairs of opposite operations. You see addition, you subtract. You see subtraction, you add. Multiplication, you divide. Division, multiply. Okay? Then, remember to do the same thing to both sides of the equation. So each time you see me solve, to keep it balanced, I'm going to write it on both sides of the equal sign. When we get to a two-step equation, remember you have to do, we're going to write down what's being done to the variable, and then what do we have to do to solve? We're going to do the opposite order of things that are done to the variable using opposite operations. That becomes our little checklist to help us solve. And then also, if we ever have the instance to combine like terms, so same variables to the same power or constants, so just numbers, we're going to do that to try to simplify the problem and make it easier to solve. All right, let's jump back here to our example. So right now I have addition. So that means I'm going to have to subtract to solve. Remember, the equal signs are a little dividing line. Not a good dash line, but that's okay. Subtract 132 from both sides. That cancels out, so I'm left with x equals, well, let's see, what's 180 minus 132? Do a quick little bit of borrowing, and I find out that it is 48. So x is 48. Now, some of you are saying, I could just do that. I know the whole thing's 180. I know of the 132 degree piece. Can't I just do 180 minus 132 and get 48? Yes, you absolutely may. And that's totally fine for a problem like this, but not every problem is going to be this simplistic. And so I want to make sure you see how do you set up the equation and then solve it, because that's what we're going to do now the rest of the time. We're going to have to do that. So let's step over here, take a look at this example. In this one, we have a 3x piece and a 6x piece. Those two small angles combine to form 180 degrees. So we're going to add them. 3x plus 6x equals 180. Look at that, I've got two like terms, same variable to the same power. So I'm going to add them. Just add the coefficients. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9x equals 180. Now I see a multiplication, 9 times x, 9 and a variable stuck right together, means multiplication. So that means when I go to solve, I'm going to divide both sides by 9, keeping it balanced, and figure out that x, 180 divided by 9, you could figure this out, is 20. Okay, so combine like terms, solved, and so it turned, when we combined our like terms, it turned into a one-step equation. All right, let's take a look at this one. All right, so here I have a 120 degree part of the angle, and I'm at x minus 47. So let's solve and see what this ends up equaling. The two pieces get added together. 120 plus x minus 47 equals 180. All right, so this time I see 120 and I see a number, minus 47. So let's combine this. What's 120 minus 47? Hopefully you're saying to yourself, well, if you don't know for sure, go ahead, it's okay, grab a calculator. I'd rather you get this right. But anyway, you'd find it's 73. So we'd have x plus 73. 73 is positive, so we keep it in there as positive. And we now have x plus 73 equals 180. Now I see addition. So that means as I go through and solve, I'm going to subtract to solve. 73's cancel out. X equals, I can do this one quickly. Look at that, 107. X equals 107. I could plug that back in and find that actual angle measure. All right, but there we combined numbers. We combined our constants as our like terms. Now we're going to come down here to this last example. I have a piece of the angle that's x plus 34 and the other piece that's x. So I've got the two smaller parts. They combine to form they're supplementary angles. They combine to form one large 180-degree angle. So I add those up. X plus 34 plus x equals 180. What is the invisible number that's written in front of each of those x's? That's right, it's a 1. Now that I have that, I'm like, oh, I have those, I can combine them. They're like terms. That means there's 2x. 2x plus 34 equals 180. So I've got my little dividing line going, and I see, ooh, I have a two-step equation. I have two things being done to x on this side of the equal sign. I'm going to write up my little chart, which you can use if you need it. Some of you guys are getting to the point where you don't need that anymore, and that's great. But for those of you who do, write it up and let's use it. Let's look what's being done to x on the left side of the equal sign first. Oh yeah, it's being multiplied by 2, and then 34 is being added. So now that means this time we're going to go opposite order, opposite operations to solve. So the last becomes first, and the opposite of adding 34 now is subtracting 34. And the opposite of multiplying by 2 is dividing by 2. These two things become our little checklist to help us solve. Subtract 34 to both sides. 2x equals 146. Okay? Then we divide both sides by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 2's cancel out. X equals, what's 146 divided by 2? I hope you're saying it's 73, which it is. Okay, so this is how you solve to find a variable when you have supplementary angles. Thanks for watching.